in. Once again, no, I don't think you don't know what I'm not that stupid. Just because you know don't mean everybody who's watched this show knows what the concept of, okay? So I'll explain it if you don't understand. Here we go.
Please watch this entire video, and while you're doing so, think about the last 3 years on planet Earth.
I'm not 100% sure why I'm being asked to share this story, but I'm guessing it's because somebody needs to hear it. When I was 16, I went into what I thought was going to be a normal day at biology class. And when I walked in, all the desks were arranged in a circle in the middle of the room. And the instructor, who had always been a really amazing, loving, kind instructor, was super militant, super scary, and just looked at us and said, "Sit down, shut up. You are not allowed to move, to speak at all, and anyone who does will immediately fail my class." And we were all stunned. I get like, just thinking about it, because I was a straight A student and grades were really important to me, and I was just like terrified. So we're all sitting there silently, nervous out of our minds. And in the middle of this circle that we were all sitting in, there was one desk. And on this desk was a bowl with a goldfish in it. And he looked at us and he took the goldfish and he put it on the desk and he walked out and he shut the door. And we all just looked at each other. We're just like, what do we do? You know, like, obviously it violated like everything inside of me to like watch this fish die. And also, I heard the instruction. If you speak, if you get up, if you move, you will automatically fail the class. And so we all sat there looking to each other to do something because we didn't want it to be us. And what was a very painful, it felt like an eternity. It was probably like 2.5 minutes later. Hannah B, got up and said, "Fuck this," and took the goldfish and put it back in the bowl. And when she did that, he came out and he looked at all of us and he said, "Look what the world has done to you. You've betrayed yourself. For what?" And I think about that lesson all the time because I learned in that moment that I am never going to be that person ever again.
How many people around this planet went along with every single lie because they were told to sit down and shut up? Or even worse, they threw away friends and family just so they could go and get a cheeseburger. This teacher was predicting the future.
So I'm gonna make this real short.
False.
I'm just gonna make this short. The point of the story is you was given instructions that was completely opposite of your nature. So your nature is, how can I put this? You seeing something that's detrimentally hurt, but you understand that somebody with authority told you don't get involved in it. And because you was given instructions to not to get involved in it, the detriment that you were watching happened. And you did nothing about it. So how many times have we seen that over the years? How many times have we seen that during protests? How many times have we seen that during COVID? How many times have we seen people who oddly sit by and go, "I'm not that person. I didn't do nothing wrong." But then you sit there and witness the wrongdoing being done and did nothing about it. But have no problem going on social media and sit there and chastise anybody that says something that they ain't supposed to say or do something they ain't supposed to do. You'll voice your opinion behind the curtain because it's safer that way. You have no problem with that. It may not be your nature. You may just be an a-hole. I don't know. Or you may be a caring person, but you realize that sticking your nose into somebody else's business could somehow jeopardize something personal for you. So you don't do anything because you was instructed not to do anything. You was told at an early age not to get involved, even when you know it's wrong, even though you know it's unfair, even though you know it's unjust. So yeah, that whole story of, oh my God, I'm sitting here watching a freaking goldfish die on the table, but if I save it, it's gonna have a problem for me. But I'm sitting here watching a goldfish die on the table. Now you have to balance the two.
I'll take that F. No problem.
Yeah.
But can you really teach the lessons that they're going for with a goldfish?
Well, first of all, let's get one thing perfectly straight, and I got the concept of it. Like I said, the story is old as crap, and now I do remember it was told to me in the military, and the point of it was, yeah, you don't have to listen to authority. You people who outrank you, when you know what their orders is flat out wrong. That's not that. So they was putting that into like. I don't care if they outrank you, and I don't care if they make it a direct order. If you know in your heart of hearts, soul of souls, and even the policies that's written says what they're saying is wrong, no, you don't have to do it. That was the point of that story. So it's an old story. Number two, lady.
Thank you.
If
I'm never gonna be that person again,
tell
girl.
me the story of the woman.
Go
Come
to
on.
acting class. They got them. They got them in every major city in the United States.
Come on. Because the story, the teaching fits itself. We did not need all that dramatic. And I will never, as far I was ready for the music to start playing in the background. And for that day on, I promise I will never, ever do something like that again.
Y'all hard. Ooh,
Them
y'all
tears
tough.
were pathetically. That's why I'm like, she was like, I'm like, girl, you doing
I'm
too
sorry.
much.
She
Too
was
much.
one
Well,
step away from the
She could
sound
have just
of
told the
ours
story.
again.
She could have just said, moral of the story is, but the crying, I'm like, she done just took it too far.
I'm sorry.
so it is an age-old story,
Yeah.
right? It's adapted for the time and for the audience. During the Holocaust, they spoke of it in their own version through Schindler's List when they were talking about when they came for this and they came for this and they came for this, right? It's a similar thing. And the military is trying to teach you that yes, you respect the chain of command, but you are not required to follow an unjust order, right? So that's where they have that message coming through, right? So I get it, and that's all well and good. Where she kind of lost me was when she decided to add in this little tidbit where I was a straight A student. No, no, you weren't, because see, a straight A student wouldn't grow up to do their hair and dress like that. So that's not that that was an unnecessary.
Wow.
It was an unnecessary detail. You were an AB student at best. Okay, so let's stop it. Stop it. Um,
Well, she threw.
but
Well, okay, I know why she threw in the A student thing.
Because she was setting up like I always do what I'm told.
Yeah,
I get good grades. If I did this, I would get an F, blah, blah, blah,
yeah,
blah,
my
blah.
grades are so important. So now it really add extra
right,
weight on
shows
me.
why
Yeah,
I get it.
so
I get it. I'm just saying she ain't
I'm
had to do
not
that.
saying that she didn't
But
lie. I don't understand what her makeup and hair had to do
Yeah, that
with
was.
that.
yeah,
But
just
okay,
I'm just saying. That's cool. I'm just saying. No, a little much. A little much. Um,
I'm sorry, your
yeah.
eyebrow wasn't matching at the sides, but even
But
here,
the
look
funny
here.
thing about it though is, and here's why I give people a little bit of grace, um, because human nature, or at least, okay, so I'm sort of centrist on American upbringing and socialization. You're asking a lot. And I ask a lot of people, right? That's why I do Complex Mind, Simple Man the way I do. I know that that is contrary to our traditional behavior. Our traditional behavior is not give money to someone who doesn't have a 401k. I mean, I'm sorry, a nonprofit 401c3.
501c3.
That there you. Thank you, Tracy. Right? It's not. That's just not natural to how we do things. It's you would think that when you're going into vote, we do a lot of talking about voting. And, you would think that people would look at, well, what is good and decent and what follows my moral belief system. And that's how I'm going to make my decisions. But it's not. We go in and we say, we put our feelings into, well, I shouldn't have to make this particular decision. Or we make like comic book supervillain hero diagnoses of this person's evil and this person's good. Like people have been socialized not to really be able to overcome the inertia that it would take for that person to say, no, I'm putting the goldfish back in the bowl immediately. Like teacher ain't even gonna get out the classroom good before back in the bowl, right? So we're looking at this and we're saying, well, no, if that happened, I would definitely, I would definitely go and be the one to put the fish back in the bowl.
No, you wouldn't.
And I don't think that you would.
No.
I don't know. I believe that I would, but I'm not 100% certain, right? Because what we naturally do is we look around and ain't nobody coming with you, right? I mean, I'm a youth church. When you at church, for those of you who grew up Baptist or know the Baptist church structure, when they open the doors of the church, those first 2 minutes, the most awkward time the whole service, right? Because don't nobody want to be first.
The first to leave. Yep.
Right? Now we know that if the first person will just come down the aisle to the altar, you will have like another 3 to 5 behind you. But somebody has to go first. And we're trained not to want to be that person. So I don't know. I would love to say that people would do the right thing, but I have too many examples around us every day that shows that's just not how we do.
Well, we don't even do
with
that.
the crying.
Yeah, we don't do that. We don't even do that as adults. I mean, I'm not even gonna go back into my spiel. We don't do that as adults. So you can miss me trying to say that you're gonna do it as a high school student. You just stop that. I've held many conversations with parents now that I've known for years, and they know that I'm joking, but deep down I'm really not. I can't believe she did this. I never would have did that when I was little. And I used to look at them like, fuck, I grew up with you. Yes, you did. You literally did exactly that. It's just now coming back around to you. That now you see it from another side. But you did do it. Was there when you did it. And your parents.
But hell, I did it with you.
I did it with you. I was there. Yes. So there are certain things when you sit there and go, I would never have done. It's equivalent of I would have. Not really. And yeah, I mean, and I'm going with what Thea said. I was an AB student. Actually, just add to the levels of, this is really important to me. But yeah, how important was school to you? Was you that person who never got in trouble in school? Ever? There were people who was like that. Ever? The authority was strong in you. You did the homework when the homework was given to you. You went to classroom. You sat down. You kept your mouth shut. You kept your head down. You didn't move. You didn't budge. You did what everybody said. Everybody did. You came in on time. You left on time, and you did everything right. But you would have put the goldfish back. Right.
And then what if you were raised as a fisherman or
And
raised as a hunter?
here we go.
You see that little thing flopping around the desk, you'd be like, man.
That's right. Yeah.
Man.
But and the funny thing about it, you don't even have to be that theist. Let's just make
Dinner
it
tonight.
let's make it the most shallow thing there possibly is. Because you gotta remember, we're talking about kids back in the day, kids now. It's a goldfish. It's just a goldfish. It's so what?
Watching something die in front of you can be very, very traumatic. It doesn't matter what it is.
And some people look at it, but I'm saying we're looking at it as the shallow, most important thing. Because for some people, death is death, regardless of what it is. Some people actually put a label on it, though. It's a goldfish.
No, I definitely agree. Cruelty is the point, right? It's what it's coming down. It's a cruelty. It's not that the fish is dying. It's the cruelty of how this thing is happening, right? But what I would love to say or see, and I am committed to doing in my own way, is trying to work with young people to reinforce what was taught to me. And what I was taught as a child, and I did it as a kid. So yes, I was a rule follower, rule breaker, right? I do everything with a conscious mind. So and this is even when I was a kid, y'all. So I broke the rules that I chose to break. Like I made a conscious decision that, okay, the risk analysis for this right here is worth me doing that there, and I'll deal with that. But I never just randomly broke rules. Like, no. If I was supposed to be somewhere, I was there. If I was supposed to behave a certain way, I behaved, right? But if I was going to intentionally break a rule, I knew I was intentionally doing it. And if I got caught, and I'm this way even to this day, I own it immediately. It's not even, I'm not going to sit here and create new lies to cover for something that I'd already decided, win or lose, I'm doing this thing, right? Yep. And I think that that's an important lesson that young people need to be taught, that you are not always going to get it right. You're not always going to make the best decision. I tell my girls, you will definitely disappoint me at some point. At some point, you are almost definitely going to break my heart with something that you chose to do that was just dumb or not well thought out. It's going to happen. Your job is to try not to do those things, but don't ever set yourself up to think you're incapable of it, right? Mm-hmm. So young people need to be given their structure and their parameters, but then also they need to be equipped with critical thinking skills so that they can decide which risks are worth taking. What we run into a lot right now are young people just doing stuff. Sorry, Tracy, go ahead.
And I decided from that point on, I would never, ever be that person. Girl, shut up. Oh my gosh.
Hey, what's that commercial? There's a commercial like that where there's the black lady and it's just like random. All of a sudden she's doing the award speech. And I just want to say.
Oh, that's a detergent. I think that's a detergent commercial.
Okay. Like, it's so random.
I to piggyback off of this real quick.
And not what I said.
And then we're going to move on. Kids are going to make mistakes. You make mistakes. That's why I hold these conversations with parents all the time with stop acting like you was just the most world perfect child. You wasn't. Heck, I was with you when you were making your worst mistakes ever. I made a deal with myself on certain things about it. I will never fuss at you for making a mistake. However, I will fuss at you if I figure that your mistake is either detrimental to your future or dangerous to your life or somebody else. Then you're going to hear my mouth. Because I've always said this, I lived through this mantra all my life. It only takes one moment, one blinking moment to change the rest of your life. There are some mistakes that are just that. You get over, you it's a mistake, you figure it out, you don't do it no more. But there are some mistakes you never, ever come back from. Ever. So yeah, you're going to hear my mouth. And my mom taught me this. What would you rather do? Hear my mouth for a few minutes? A few hours? Or live with this mistake for the rest of your life? You think about it
I'm
for
with
a
you, dog.
while. I'll sit here and listen to y'all freaking day. 24 hours? Cool. Because I got the 30s, my 40s, and my 50s, and my 60s to go through. All I got to do is give up 24 hours? I'm good.
Yeah. And I do that with my kids. Like, because, with kids, they don't like, or at least my kids really don't like being in trouble. Some kids are headstrong and they don't care about getting in trouble. But my kids,
My
they
kids,
I
really
hated
don't.
being in trouble. No,
my
no,
kids
no, no.
hate
Yeah,
their
my
head
kids
being in trouble.
hate being in trouble.
Boy, I
But
must have been a rug rat because I just didn't
but
care.
I made certain promises to my kids. One, I don't care where you are, what you did, how you got to be in whatever situation you are in. I will always come for you.
Yes.
It does not matter.
Yep.
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 I will always come. I don't care where you are. I will come for you. Also, if you do something wrong, you will hear from me.
Yes.
There's no exception here,
No.
right? But if you are honest with me, like don't ever lie to me. If you're honest with me, the worst you'll probably get is a lecture.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather talk to my children.
Mm-hmm.
But if you lie to me, I will burn your whole world down.
Yeah.
I come down on my kids for small lies. Small. Like if I say, what are you watching? Because I know what channel, I can hear what channel you're on.
Mm-hmm.
And then you say something, something. And then when I walk in the room, you're on this new channel now. I know you lied. And I'm going to come down on you like you just lied about a body in the basement. Right? Because I'm reinforcing to you, you don't lie to me. Right? But I think one of the mistakes I know I've made growing up is I take for granted that how I was taught. And that's not how everyone is taught. Right? Like I grew up in a house where everybody says I love you, where you talk through your issues, where as long as you didn't lie, you'll get your punishment, but it'll always be the lighter side of the punishment versus the heavier side of the punishment. Right? It was consistent. You know, speaking for myself, there was never a day in my life that I wondered if my dad would be there when I came home. And my dad is a soldier, but I knew in my heart that he would always be right there. Right? So I grew up in that kind of a world. But a lot of people are not growing up like that. Or they grow up in a state of survival. See, if you grow up in a state of survival and you come up against somebody who grew up in a state of love, I'm not saying there's no love in the survival. I'm saying there's different lessons being taught.
Yeah.
Right? You can't put that on the same scale. In short, what I'll say is my best friend. I remember I was young, early 20s, kind of early in my divorce, and we were roommates. He grew up on the same side of town as like my ex-wife. So me and my ex-wife we're different. She grew up in a very loving household or whatnot, but she grew up hood, and I grew up suburban, right? So not on the same. But like he told me, he's like, dude, you gotta understand something. Where you come from, there's a line, and you might walk up to that line, but you're gonna do a whole lot of thinking before you'll cross over that line.
Mm-hmm.
Where I come from, I see that line, and I'm looking for every break, every bend, every ripple in that line, because if I only stand at that line looking for what else I can do, I might not make it. And it's important for us to do that extra calculation within ourselves to understand that everybody you come up across, they ain't come up the same way you did.
Yeah, that the whole concept of people, there's a very thin line of common sense, and everybody thinks it's wide open. It's wide open. You got to have common. No, what your common sense is not my common sense. What I think is the right thing to do, you may not think is the right thing to do, because we grew up on two different ways of doing stuff. If I never grew up in the woods and I see the woods and I just feel like, hey, I'm gonna walk through the woods, compared to somebody else that's going, I'm finna go take a walk through the woods. Let me get my emergency kit together. Let me get my weapon just in case something happens. Let me make sure that my cell phone is charged up in case I got to make a call and things like that. And something happens to you because you was urban, you never seen the woods before, thus you never knew what to go through. Talk to somebody who done this all their life, and they're gonna look at you and go, that's common sense. That's not common, because my common is not your common. Reverse it. Dude, I'm telling you right now, it's 2:00 in the morning. I do not suggest that you go walk to the store. Well, I walk through the woods at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning all the time. This ain't the woods. This is the hood. I suggest
Don't
you
go
do
to that
not
gas
go
station.
walk through the here.
Don't go to that gas station. Don't go to that ATM. You don't go to those.
And for us, that's common sense. What was the whole thing? If you didn't grow up in this neighborhood, or you don't know anybody in this neighborhood, you don't go to that neighborhood.
Nope.
Well, after dark, we gave you that much. When the sun goes down, you need to leave. Now you go ahead and knock yourself out with, my freedom and my rights and everything else, and you can't tell me what to do all you want to. Cool. You have all your freedoms and all your rights. You also have life insurance.
I have a less dramatic example.
Mm-hmm.
And this no, because what Marlon's saying is 100%, right? But for example, and this y'all probably gonna pick on me for this. So Anna, you live in a beautiful tapestry of countryside, right?
I do.
It is gorgeous. For me, it's gorgeous looking through a screen.
Mm-hmm.
It would scare me shitless to be out there for real, because I don't know the sounds to listen for.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if all of a sudden, I mean, I kind of know, but I've never experienced where if all of a sudden all the birds and the bugs go quiet, there's a problem.
You get the fuck out. Yes.
Right? But see, I ain't gonna react to it right.
Very
You see what I'm saying?
You may not even hear that. Yeah, I get it. Mm-hmm.
You know? So it's like, it's to me, it's humorous, but it's real. But at the same time, we could be going down through downtown Atlanta, and I know the difference between someone saying, hey baby, I like them shoes, man. Or, hey fam, I like them shoes, man.
Yeah, there's a different tone.
Difference.
There's a different tone.
Mm-hmm.
And I know immediately
One
Which
is
way to react to
cool.
them?
Cool. I appreciate it. The other one is cool, but you're gonna have to start walking a tad bit faster than when you started.
Or it's already too late.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
It's,
yeah,
mm,
yeah. I
this
know
is
this
not a
is
request anymore.
yeah. I know this is messed up, but do y'all think the kids would have been more likely to jump up if the teacher had a tub of water and dropped a little hamster or something? Would the kids jump to stop them from drowning? That was the question I was having when I was saying about it's just a goldfish. It's just a goldfish. What is your
Mm-hmm.
level of
But
importance?
isn't that the problem?
Yes, it
That's
is.
the
Yeah,
problem.
that's the problem.
Every different people have a different hamster, right? If a white girl, a blonde, no, be very specific. If a slim, blonde hair white girl goes missing, they will search the whole freaking country
Put YouTube
to find
videos
her,
up for the next week and a half. No,
Yes.
keep it
right?
going.
They
Week and a
Mm-hmm.
they'll
half of
search the whole country.
broadcasting.
They will find her, okay? Hopefully, but they will do their damnedest to do it, right?
Or they will find a
Be
body.
yeah,
They'll
be a
keep going.
overweight Latina that looks like you straight up from across the border. Let's see how hard they go looking for you. Be a black girl from Chicago. I don't give a damn how you look. Let's see how hard they come looking for you.
The most you're gonna get for a
See,
black girl being lost, being gone missing is a bunch of Facebook posts, and that's usually from the family, and that's usually from people that's reposted it. But you're not gonna get a YouTube 10 days of broadcasting and promises and the reports from the police, and even after they found or there is foul play, now we got another 10 days of discussion, of analyzing of what happened, that could have happened, what happened, and everything else. Yeah,
the point I'm making though is that different levels of sensitivity, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many times do we see young black men or black men, period, literally murdered on TV and shown on rerun and repeat on every news channel? Like it's just, whatever,
it's a commercial.
right?
Yeah.
But let we've never seen it. I've never seen it that they kill a little white girl, right? Because police don't just kill black people. I need people to understand this. Police
Mm-hmm.
don't just kill black people. It's just that we're goldfish. It's socially acceptable to watch us die. They can't let you see the family dog die, right? They're not gonna let you see Amy get killed on TV. Not gonna do it. Okay, different level of sensitivity. So it's like that example that they were using. It just has so many layers to it. But it really comes down to what's your goldfish.
Because what would you do if your kids give you a piece of gum and say it's strawberry with its really mint flavor? How big of a lie would it have to be? Um, you said you gave it to Thea, so
If
All
they,
right, so
if
context
they,
matters.
yes, Parker, you
If
need a
we in
little
our
bit more than
silly,
that.
yeah, if we in our silly mode, because me and my kids, we are silly as hell together. But there's always some intellectual weirdness underlying all of it. So if we're in our silly mode and you slip me some mint gum and I'm expecting strawberry, I just you got me. I was dumb, right? But if like we're at a funeral and I like, hey, give me a piece of mint gum, and you give me some bazooka joke,
It is a piece of gum, though.
That
we
is
might
not
have a
mint.
problem.
it. Mint.
we might have a
No,
problem.
he said a piece of gum, and he's expecting
No,
mint.
he said
He
mint.
said
So
mint.
if I said mint,
I must
and
have
you
hit
give
the
me
mint
some
part.
Bazooka Joe or that zebra stripe nastiness, right? Now I know you trying to be funny, and this wasn't
They
the
still
time
make
to be
that?
funny. I don't know.
Because I think I was fussing my kids for getting that crap. Did you spend your money
Wow,
on that
Marlon.
crap? No, I'm sorry, but that was disgusting crap. I literally think I would put them on punishment for just getting that stuff. You are making very detrimental decisions in your life, and I don't think you need to be out in public.
You have embarrassed the family.
You have embarrassed the family. You have embarrassed the Black community. You have
The
embarrassed
Black
the nation.
community? Oh
I
my
think you
God.
embarrassed us all.
It's
You have
just
embarrassed us all.
gum. Let it go.
You just set us back 30 years.
You have set, boy. Hey, you.
Let's go back to the peanut butter video, shall we?
Don't tell nobody what your name is or what house you live in. We're gonna move on to the next
Guess
video.
that's just how you was raised.
Yeah, that's disgusting. A small mint flavor at the beginning, and you chewing wax for the rest of the time. You have made some very bad life decisions, and I know I've taught you better. I know I've
Maybe
taught
they
you
like
better.
wax.
I know I have raised you better than this.
But at least it's not mayonnaise. So I mean, we can work.
And
through
we're
some
going to
things.
move on to the next video, in which we will now look at